What if I told you that there was a time in Africa when the birth of twins could become a death sentence? Not because of disease, not because of war, not because anyone had committed a crime, but simply because two babies entered the world at the same time. Imagine a mother hearing the cries of her newborn children for the very first time. A moment that should have been filled with joy. A moment that should have united a family. Instead, it could bring terror. Across parts of southeastern Nigeria during the 19th century, stories passed from one generation to the next warned that twins carried a terrible curse. Many believed that one child was human and the other was something else entirely. Nobody could agree on where the danger came from, yet fear spread through villages, families, and entire communities. When twins were born, celebrations often stopped. Whispers began. Questions followed. Who had offended the spirits? What disaster would come next? Who would be blamed? For countless families, the answers could be devastating. Some mothers were cast out, some fathers abandoned their homes, and many innocent children never had the chance to grow up. The belief was so powerful that few dared to challenge it. Few dared to ask whether the stories were true. Few dared to stand against traditions that had existed for generations. Then, something happened that nobody could have predicted. Thousands of miles away, in a cold, industrial city filled with smoke, poverty, and factory noise, a young girl was growing up under circumstances that offered little reason to expect greatness. She was not wealthy. She was not powerful. She did not belong to a royal family. No army followed her. No government supported her. Yet one day, this young woman would travel across the sea and walk into the heart of a land she had never seen before. She would face deadly diseases. She would enter territories many outsiders feared to visit. She would challenge beliefs that seemed impossible to change. And she would place herself between vulnerable children and the forces that threatened their lives. The people she met would never forget her. Some admired her. Some questioned her. Others watched her with disbelief, because the woman standing before them appeared to be attempting something no one else had managed to do. Her name was Mary Slessor. The story of how she arrived in Africa and how she became known as the woman who saved African twins is far more extraordinary than most people realize. And it begins long before she ever set foot on African soil. Long before Mary Slessor's name became known across the forests and rivers of southeastern Nigeria, life in the region followed rhythms that had existed for generations. The land itself was breathtaking. Towering trees stretched toward the sky. Thick rainforests covered vast distances. Powerful rivers carved their way through the landscape, connecting villages and kingdoms. The sounds of birds echoed through the forest canopy. Markets buzzed with activity. Fishermen traveled waterways that had sustained families for centuries. Farmers worked fertile lands that produced food for growing communities. This was not an empty wilderness waiting to be discovered. It was a world filled with culture, traditions, leadership systems, trade networks, and spiritual beliefs that shaped everyday life. Among the peoples living in this region were the Efik, whose influence extended throughout the area around Old Calabar. Their society was organized and sophisticated. Trade connected communities to distant lands. Family ties carried enormous importance. Respect for elders guided decision-making. Stories passed from one generation to another helped explain the mysteries of life. For many people, the physical world and the spiritual world were deeply connected. Events rarely happened without meaning. Success had meaning, failure had meaning, illness had meaning, birth had meaning, death had meaning. Every unusual event demanded an explanation, and few events seemed more unusual than the birth of twins. Today, twins are often celebrated. Families proudly share photographs. Communities offer congratulations. But in parts of southeastern Nigeria during the 19th century, the arrival of twins could create fear unlike anything most people today can imagine. No one knows exactly how these beliefs first began. The stories had existed for so long that many people accepted them without question. Some believed that twins brought misfortune. Others feared that unseen forces were at work. Many believed that allowing twins to remain within the community could invite disaster upon everyone. The consequences could be heartbreaking. A mother who had expected joy suddenly found herself facing rejection. A father who loved his children could find himself trapped between family affection and community pressure. Entire families could become isolated, and the smallest victims of all were the newborn children themselves. The fear was powerful because it touched every part of life. People worried about failed harvests. They worried about disease. They worried about accidents. Whenever hardship struck, some believed that the presence of twins might be connected. Fear has a way of growing when it goes unchallenged. A story becomes a belief. A belief becomes a tradition. A tradition becomes a rule. Eventually, people stop asking questions. For generations, many families lived within that reality. Few could imagine things ever changing. Yet change often begins in the most unexpected places. While these beliefs continued across parts of southeastern Nigeria, another story was unfolding on the opposite side of the world. A story that appeared completely unrelated. A story taking place thousands of miles away in Scotland. At first glance, there seemed to be no connection whatsoever. Different continent, different culture, different language, different life. Yet the path of a poor Scottish girl was moving steadily toward the forests of West Africa. And the hardships she faced during her childhood would prepare her for challenges that most people could never endure. Because Mary Slessor's life did not begin with comfort. It did not begin with privilege. It began with struggle. The year was 1848. In the Scottish city of Dundee, a baby girl entered a world defined by poverty and hard work. Her family had little money. Like many working-class families of the time, survival required sacrifice. Factories dominated the landscape. The air often carried smoke from industrial activity. For countless children, childhood was short. Responsibility arrived early. Mary would learn that reality firsthand. As she grew older, her family's financial situation remained difficult. Every coin mattered. Every meal mattered. Every opportunity mattered. Children often contributed to household income because families depended on it. Mary was no exception. While many children today spend their early years focused on school and play, Mary entered factory work while still very young. The hours were exhausting. The conditions were harsh. The work demanded discipline far beyond her years. Day after day, she labored in textile mills. The machines never seemed to rest. The noise was constant. The routine was relentless. Yet something unusual began to emerge. Despite her circumstances, Mary developed an intense hunger for knowledge. Many people in her position might have accepted their situation as permanent. Mary did not. She searched for opportunities to learn whenever she could. Books fascinated her. Stories fascinated her. New ideas fascinated her. Even after long hours of work, she found ways to continue educating herself. The determination that would one day carry her through African rainforests was already beginning to reveal itself. But life continued to test her. Her family faced difficulties that extended beyond poverty. The challenges inside the household left lasting impressions on young Mary. She witnessed hardship up close. She understood uncertainty. She knew what it felt like to struggle. Those experiences shaped her character in ways nobody could have predicted. Without realizing it, the girl working long hours in Scotland was developing qualities that would later help her survive conditions that frightened seasoned explorers and experienced missionaries. Patience, resilience, discipline, compassion, courage. The qualities were growing quietly. And so was another influence. Across Britain during the 19th century, stories from distant lands captured public attention. Missionaries returned with accounts of places many people would never see. Newspapers published reports from foreign regions. Church gatherings discussed work taking place overseas. Among the places frequently mentioned was Africa. To many Europeans, Africa seemed mysterious and distant. For Mary, it became something else, a calling. The more she learned, the more her curiosity grew. The more she listened, the stronger the feeling became. Somewhere beyond the factories, beyond the streets of Dundee, beyond the familiar world she had always known, there was a purpose waiting for her. At the time, nobody around her could have imagined where that conviction would lead. Not her neighbors, not her co-workers, not even her family. Because the journey ahead would eventually carry Mary across an ocean and into one of the most challenging environments she would ever face. And when she finally arrived in Africa, she would discover a reality that would change her life forever.